and entrepreneurs to become top 1% communicators in their industry. We also have a popular YouTube channel called Masterclass, with the goal to like the accuracy communication tools for everyone in the world. So let's have a round. So Mr. Brenden, the time starts now.
Over to you, Brenden.
Thank you so much, Sherry. It's such a pleasure to be here, everyone. Thanks so much for taking the time, for having me and every of the incredible speakers. And before I even start my keynote, I want to say this. The time that you are investing in yourselves is the most important thing you could do in your life. So many of us invest in our vacations. We invest in the expensive things we want to buy, the vacations we want to go on, but so few of us invest in ourselves. And the most important thing you'll ever invest in is you. So I want to congratulate all of you for being here today and for being a part of this experience. So in the short 5 minutes that we have today, I only have one question to share with all of you that I want you to implement for the rest of your lives. And the question is this: how would the world change if you were an exceptional communicator? How would the world change if you were an exceptional communicator? My story began when I was 5 years old. I grew up in a city called Montreal in Canada. My parents immigrated from Sri Lanka in the early 90s to Canada. And in Montreal, it's a typical weird city in the sense that you need to know how to speak French to do well in the city. But there was one problem. I didn't know how to speak French. So my parents looked at me and they said, Brenden, you need to go to French school and learn the language. So my whole life, not only was I scared of communication, but I had to present in a language I didn't even know. So when I walked up to my first grade classroom, I looked at the audience and said, bonjour. And that was my life for most of it. And so many of you in this crowd, your first language is Hindi, your first language is Telugu, your first language is Punjab or Urdu. And there's so many people I meet in this community that are scared to share their message in English, in their first language, because our community is not taught to share their voice, to share their story. And the only thing that I want to share with all of you is that if I could go on to be the YouTuber that I am, to share my ideas with the world, to speak my truth, imagine all of the ideas that you have sitting inside of you. And that's why it comes back to this question. How would the world change if you were an exceptional communicator? Don't just write that question down on a piece of paper. Spend some time answering it, because communication, effective communication, is not just about presentations. It's about every area of your life. It's about the way that you build relationships with the people that you love. It's the way that you interview for a job you're dying to have. It's the way that you fall in love. It's the way that you meet strangers at a park. Mastering communication is the most important thing you'll do. But the best way to do that is to first figure out what your motivation is. And for me, my motivation was to help the world master the art of communication. That's why me and Sherry get along so well, because we have the same mission in the world, to help every single human being on the planet become master communicators. And because of that mission, because of our desire to help you speak out your ideas more, because of our desire to see all of you win, that pushes us to do better, to be more, and to become more. And every single person in this room has that same potential. But now the question remains is, will you take it? Will you use that potential to share your ideas with the world? Whether it's a technological invention, whether it's a coaching practice you want to start, or whether it's just telling somebody around you that you love them. That's the power that communication can give you. And if you take that extra step and just ask yourself that question, how would the world change if you were an exceptional communicator? Then, my friends, I believe that you can take that first step into the greatness that you already are and share your ideas with the world. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.